You are significant. You have seeds of greatness inside of you. You are not on accident. You are on purpose. You are here for a very divine, special purpose. And we are going to talk in this podcast about evidence that you are significant. Welcome to You Are Significant. I'm so excited to have Monica Connolly with us today. And Monica is a good friend of mine that I met through our network marketing business, as well as our mutual mentor, Brooke Hemingway. We have followed some similar paths, going to some of the same kind of events that are entrepreneur events, especially geared towards women, but a lot of times there's couples there. So over time, we've just kept growing together and running into each other at these events as we keep growing. And I have seen Monica transform, really. I don't think that's too strong of a word to use. Her confidence level and her purpose, discovering her purpose, which of course, was there all along. And so I am so excited for her to share today how God has shown her significance as we chat together today on this episode. Welcome to You Are Significant, Monica.
Darlene, thank you so much for having me on and sharing my story. Yeah, we've been in some amazing rooms together, and we really had an opportunity to watch each other grow and really step into what God has planned for us.
Amen, sister. That is so true. So, I wanted to let you start with, you know, just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I am a holistic health and wellness coach and a certified master life coach. And that all kind of came about 4 years ago. I found myself at a really critical juncture in my life. I had to make a choice. For 2 decades, I had been a primary caregiver for my husband who has a traumatic brain injury. And I also have two kids that have medical needs. So I was giving, I was caretaking, I was sacrificing myself, and my health had become a very serious issue. I was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder, and it led to a chronic pain diagnosis. My doctor told me that if I didn't take some drastic steps, I would only live a couple more years. My kids
Oh,
are
wow.
young, right? I have a grandson. I was like, I have to do something.
Mhm.
I had no idea like where to go. I had followed medical advice for a very long time and wasn't seeing the kind of results that I knew that I needed to get my health back. So I decided to go search for it on my own. So I got certifications and I learned that to fix my body, I had to fix my mind first.
Mhm.
So I did a lot of work on myself, on my mindset, on how I process things, and moved through a massive shift in my mindset and healed my body by healing my mind and doing the hard work.
Wow. So tell me more about the kind of things that you had to change with your mindset in order to heal.
So one thing that I remember very clearly thinking to myself was all of the things that have happened to me, I can either blame God or I can say, this was here for a reason and I need to know the reason. I need to learn from it and take it and teach others. And I knew that if I turned away from God, everything was going to fall apart, that was just not an option. And so by working through trauma, by working through all of the trash in my past
Mhm.
and learning how to process that and learning that, you know, I'm worthy, and that's just my God-given right. I'm worthy. I don't have to prove myself to anyone. Making those shifts was instrumental in me being able to also regain my health.
Yes, and I love that you're talking about the fact that you are worthy is your God-given, really just kind of a birthright, really, because we're created in His image. And that's something that I talk about a lot here on this podcast and in my coaching is that, we are created in His image with the same power in us that rose Jesus from the dead, and that's in Ephesians. And when we look at that and really take that in, it's amazing. It's amazing how God has made us and the creative ability that we have and the power that we have and how much He loves us.
Yeah,
Just how much that He loves us. And as Christians, Monica is a Christian too, that we believe that Jesus died on the cross for us, that God sent His only Son to die for me and for you. And when we think of, I can't imagine sacrificing my son Joe and my son and letting him be treated the way Jesus was, beaten with, the whips they used back then had bone and metal in them, and they just shredded a person, and a lot
yeah,
of people died from the beating. They
it's
lost so
horrible.
much blood. But and I was thinking about this within the last few days, that then Jesus was made to carry His own cross. The fact He was able to even do that is a miracle.
Yeah,
And of course, after so long of doing it, He buckled, and Simon was asked to carry that cross for Jesus. But, when we start looking at that same amount of love and power is passed along to us, that it's really almost beyond comprehension. So I love that you talked about, you just almost like we say, you had to come to Jesus moment. You had to come to Jesus moment, and you were like, I have worth. I've got to stop sacrificing to the point that I don't have any worth. And there's a difference between sacrificing to love someone and help, but it's not required of us long term on
yeah.
endlessly to sacrifice to the point of our own health. So it's okay to ask for help. Is that one of the things that you did, or how did you manage this? Because you do have a husband with a brain injury and two special needs children. So,
Yeah, luckily my kids have the same genetic issue that I have, and so we've learned how to manage that. And as they've gotten older, they've learned how to manage that, and I'm here as a support system for them. My husband definitely, due to his brain injury, there is not going to be further recovery there. But yeah, definitely, learning to ask for help. I didn't do that for until 4 years ago. I didn't really, I felt like it was all my responsibility to bear all of that responsibility. And in doing that, it it took me to a really dark place, and it it put me in a position where I forgot that I mattered too, and that
mhm,
if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't be that support that they need.
mhm, mhm. Well, I think that that is so beautiful because it takes a lot of courage to ask for help. This is something that I talked about in my last podcast episode, my solo cast, where it's so hard sometimes to let other people in, to
Yeah.
trust. I was talking about coming out of isolation and allowing friendship, and
Mhm.
allowing someone else to come into your life, and how that takes faith. but it
Yeah.
also takes a different kind of sacrifice because sometimes we don't do the same things the same way as someone else. So we have to be willing to be open to
Yeah.
differences and different opinions, different ways of expressing things. And especially if you're going to let someone help you with your husband's care, you're going to need to train them. They're going to be in your personal space. It just if it depends sometimes if it's family, if it's someone you're paying, either situation has different challenges, you know. So it takes a lot of courage to ask for help.
Yeah, and I think part of my issue was that I felt like I should be able to handle all of it. My husband does require somebody to be with him 24/7, but, luckily we're not a situation where he's not mobile or we need 24/7 nursing. He just has to have somebody around.
Mhm.
So, but I still always felt like that was my responsibility. I shouldn't be
Mhm.
asking somebody else to stay with him while I go do something because it was my responsibility.
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah, and finally
And a lot of
learning that
caretakers go through that, right?
yeah,
If it's a
they do.
wife and her husband has Alzheimer's, she feels like she's supposed to be there all the time. And our society, some of our society would maybe even guilt her for
Oh, yeah.
being gone. But it isn't wrong for us as women to have our own goals and and purpose outside of being the caregiver for our husband or our children. That is a huge blessing that we get to do those things, but there can be space in our life for other goals and other interests. Um, and I think of the Proverbs 31 lady and all the different things that she did. She was a great wife, such a great wife that her husband called her blessed. She was a great mom, such a great mom that her children rose up and called her blessed as well. But she did so many other things in addition to them and their care because we read about her feeding her maidservants. And that's going to be a daily thing, right? Maidservants like to eat often, not just once a week, probably a few times a day. And then she went and looked at a field and she bought it and she took care of the poor and the needy. So she was working. She was a working woman and there was time made. And I believe there's seasons in life, you know, um, I think when our kids are really little, that's such a special time if we can be home with them that is so formative. I think if possible, it is so, so good to be with our children when they're little. But I do think as they get to be older and they're beginning to be educated, whether that's homeschooled or public school, private school, tutored, whatever the situation is, that begins to create some space for mom to have some other interest. And even if you're a homeschooling mom, you don't have to do it all. It's okay to have a co op or a split. Like in our town, we have the Renaissance program where the kids can go part time to a tutoring building and then part time is at home. And
Oh,
so it's a real, and they end up with a certified diploma still, just like if they
okay.
accredited, just like if they went to public school. So there's so many options now, but those options create space for mom to have room for her own interests, her own goals, even, work some. So what did you find as you started to see yourself changing in your mind and in your mindset? What began to happen?
Um, so I started remembering the things that I liked to do when I was younger, um and I always, I love crafting and sewing. I do quilts and things like that, and that had all gotten pushed to the side. And I I was very, very creative when I was younger. I have, poetry published from when I was in high school. And then just as time went on, as things got hard, all of that got pushed to the side. And so one thing that I really found a calling for was helping other women and working with other women to not only help them find their worth and get them on a health journey and really help them reclaim their identity, but also through my church working with women and bringing women together in community.
Mm, that sounds wonderful. So you went on and started to get your certifications in some other areas as well?
I did. I did a master life coach certification. I also have a life purpose certification, a holistic health certification, and a lot of it was to educate myself. I knew that I needed to find a path that worked for me, and then I could take that path and share it with others to be able to help them find that same success health wise that I had found, and also just reclaiming themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what directions has this taken you? What kind of projects have you been up to?
Well, so I just launched a coaching business. So I'm going to be taking one-on-one clients as well as group coaching. So that is available. I'm also getting ready to launch a podcast called Unshakeable Belief, where everyday normal people are going to share their stories about overcoming obstacles in life. I was just an everyday normal person and I overcame huge obstacles. And there's so many other stories like that out there. And I want people to be able to hear that and know what they can accomplish and what they can dream for.
Oh, that sounds fantastic, Monica. So when are you hosting your first coaching?
I don't have a 6 week program scheduled. It's going to be a 6 week group coaching with 6 women. So once I have 6 women that are on board, we'll determine a start date that works for all of them. One-on-one coaching, of course, is easier to get a start date going for that, and that would be one-on-one meeting weekly and going through a 3 month program.
Awesome. A 3-month program.
Yeah,
That sounds really good because it takes time to start and like start the healing process first and then to start to implement new tools that you teach them they can use.
exactly. Yeah, you have to trust that process.
Mm.
um we want a fast fix. We want to just be able to flip a switch or take a pill and fix everything, and that it just doesn't work. You don't have long-term sustainable results from that. And so really learning tools that can help you for the remainder of your life that you can put in place and benefit from, make those gradual changes so that you see long-term results, that is going to be more sustainable.
Can you share with us one tool that you might share inside of your coaching program, something that you like to teach women to do to help them live better, live up to their full potential, or even
Yeah,
just cope better with life?
right. Something that was really profound for me was it's called a mirror exercise. And it's where you actually stand in front of a mirror. If you have a full length mirror, we prefer that so you can see your whole body. As women, we are taught that we are supposed to look a certain way, and, you know, realizing that our bodies were made the way that they were for a reason. And God made your body exactly the way that He wanted it.
Mhm.
And being getting comfortable with your body, looking at yourself in a mirror. Like when you think about it, we all, when we're putting on our makeup or looking in the mirror, we may glance after after we get dressed to look and make sure everything looks okay. But how many people actually stand in front of a mirror and say words of affirmation to themselves, or really look at themselves and think like, wow, like look at what my body has done for me. And here you go.
Okay. That is so, so good. So, getting comfortable with your body by doing a mirror exercise and saying words of affirmation. So, what's one of your favorite affirmations that you encourage women to maybe start with?
I am worthy,
Mm,
because I feel like that is really at the root of a lot of women's issues. They may have self-confidence, but do they have self-worth? And are they
mhm.
embracing their worth? And so really being comfortable saying that you're worthy and being able to look at yourself and say that and believe it, that once you can embrace that, it's a huge shift in your mindset.
Mhm. Yes, and I'm sure you teach in your program how to tell the difference and then how to develop self-worth as well. So that is super valuable and life-changing to learn. Well, so where can we find you then?
Yeah. You can reach me on email at hello Monica Connolly at gmail.com. You can also reach me through my coaching website. It is monicaconnollycoaching.com.
That sounds fabulous. And I will put those in the show notes, in all the places the podcast will be aired. So it'll be easy for the listeners to find
Yeah,
you on your Gmail and on your website. So
yeah,
thank you so much, Monica, for coming on today and sharing with us your story and the things that God has shown you, your significance in that you matter, and how you've taken that and just blossomed it into a coaching program and a podcast.
yeah. It has been. Um, I still look back and I'm amazed at where I'm at and where this has led me to, and the rooms that I've been in and the people that I've met, that they all played a part in me becoming who I am now, and realizing what my purpose was.
Oh, how beautiful. I love it. All right, Monica, I look forward to having you back on again for an update.
Definitely. Sounds good.
Thank you for listening to You Are Significant. Please leave us a review. Please leave comments, give us a like, and share this out. We appreciate you here on You Are Significant, and I cannot wait till next time to spend time with you.